beautiful souls. It's Robin, and you're listening to the Live Life Balance podcast. I'm so excited that you dropped by today, prioritizing you and your wellness. This podcast is for my empty nester mamas, women who are getting close to this new chapter, who have dipped one toe in, or who are fully embracing this new phase. This is for the mamas who are ready to take back their health, to live their best lives. If you're looking for an authentic, supportive community, you're definitely in the right place. It's a space for us to learn how to prioritize ourselves again. I'll be your guide, pointing you to ideas and tools that you can experiment with to see what feels good for you. You'll also hear guests talking about their journeys and what's worked for them. Together, we're going to learn how to use the 1% shift method to create little shifts and habits that, who knows, maybe become your non-negotiables to feel your best. By feeling our best, we can show up in our purpose and live the most joyful life, even in the challenging times. And boy, this new chapter can seem challenging, but I can assure you we're not alone. Some of the topics we're going to talk about are self-love, self-care, nutrition, daily toxins, food swaps, mindset, and reframing our thoughts. I hope you leave each time feeling a little more empowered and at ease to take a step or two that will allow you to shine. Are you ready? If you said yes, take a nice deep breath and say, I am ready. Now let's get into it. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Live Life Balance podcast. Today we're going to be talking with Michaela Morrell, and she is just the cutest little thing. She's a Swedish nutritionist behind foodchangeslives.com, and she also has a Facebook group called Omega-3 We Share Experiences. She specializes in cellular health, gut health, and inflammation, and the people that seek her out are those who have already tried a lot of things but really haven't found success. Michaela's knowledge leads people to create better health circumstances for their bodies to self-heal. She has an incredible healing story herself that we will talk about and really get into. And it is fascinating in which what she found was her link to better health. She is just truly the sweetest thing. And I think you guys are going to love this episode. So let's get into it. Hi, welcome back, everyone. I'm so excited today. I have on Michaela, and her and I have just recently met in a couple of courses that we're doing, and we're learning and growing together. So I wanted to have her on because she specializes in a lot of things that I think are interesting, and I think you will also think it's interesting. So welcome, Michaela.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming on. Let's just kind of get started. I love to just kind of hear a little bit of your story and kind of how you got where you are today, because obviously that didn't just, happen overnight. So if you would like to talk about that, I would appreciate it.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. I grew up in Sweden in a big family. We were 8 kids, and we did not have a lot of money. And because we did not have a lot of money, I wanted to find ways of contributing to the family. So I was very young when I pretty much decided that I was going to be able to provide for myself. So I figured out in a really early age, I was only 6 years old when I figured out that if I need to buy a rabbit for money, I could sell a rabbit for money. So it ended up I ended up investing in a few rabbits, and I started breeding them, and I started earning my own money. So very early on, I got into entrepreneurship. I developed that to not only be rabbits, but it became guinea pigs and hamsters and and birds and fishes. So I provided pretty much 3 different cities with animals to their animal stores.
That's amazing.
So I took bus there. I delivered the animals. So I knew I wanted to do something in life that could make me have a freedom. So I've always been a freedom seeker. Growing up, I started having a big interest in nutrition and medicine. I loved biology. I loved chemistry. And I wanted to go into the field of medicine, either a doctor for humans or a veterinarian, because I was so much with my animals. I loved animals. I had started investing in horses. I started breeding horses. So when I started thinking about it, I was more drawn towards animals and I wanted to become a veterinarian. But I also understood that if I'm becoming a veterinarian, it's a lot of many, many years of studying. And I wanted to be a young mom. That was one of my visions for myself. I wanted to be young so I could have energy for my family. So I was standing there weighing what I should do. And I actually got accepted to veterinarian school, but I chose to go to entrepreneurial school instead. So I went a completely different direction and I studied business, marketing, and everything you need to be able to do as a small business owner. And it was actually towards tourism. So I actually started my horse business. So I was starting that one when I was 20 years old. I think it was like a few days before I turned 20. So I was 19. But I started that and had 22 horses, full of riding school, adventure rides, and had lots of tourisms coming and riding horses with me and camping out under the stars. And it was a lovely and fun business I had. But what really made me get into nutrition was, first of all, my own health issues. So after I had my first child, I was 25 and I got shingles. So I was a very health conscious person. I was already eating clean. I was a non-toxic person. I've already been doing research. So my kid did not have any plastic toys. I fed him mainly organic food made from scratch. I did not buy any processed food for him or for us. So I was already doing good, I felt like, but still my body was not responding well to everything I did. So I started reading up into immune system because I wanted to know, why am my immune system like a 65-year-old, but I'm 25 and I'm supposed to be super healthy. I'm supposed to be thriving in the age I'm at right now, but I wasn't. So that was really making me dig deeper into nutrition. And then what happened was that my mom was diagnosed with colon cancer. And when she was diagnosed, I also knew that nutrition has such a powerful ability to help us heal ourselves. So I started digging very deep into that, and I helped her, came up with a plan for her. We followed it, and she was thriving through her cancer journey. She did not need any chemo. She just needed the surgery, and then it was gone. But it really started me to think about it. And when I lock into something, I just go in and do so much research, and I truly enjoy it. So that's what motivated me, because with that knowledge, I started helping people around. So I started helping my dad with his high blood pressure. I started helping my siblings with their kids and with their own health. And I figured out I was really, really good at this. So when I had to close down my horse business because we were moving out of country, me and my husband, I went back to school to study to become a nutritionist. And along the way, I've experienced a bunch of other things too that just made me even more sure of what I wanted to do and my calling here on earth.
So I think that what you were saying is super fascinating, because I think in life, for most people, like, we start someplace with one passion perhaps, or something we think we're interested in, and we do well in it. And then life happens, right? I say, life is lifey. And so we go through life and we have challenges and we're faced with different things, which then brings up for us other things that become our passions, right? And become something that we discover that lights us up. And I think it's important, especially in this day and age, for people to understand that just because you start in one place doesn't mean you're going to end in the same place. I don't think that there is anybody that does that. But I think a lot of people are resistant to that changing pattern because they like what they know. They're creatures of habit. Certain things. But when your health is affected personally within your family or yourself, that's when a lot of people have like an awakening of, okay, what can I do that I'm not getting from somebody else? And so that, I think for me, that was the same personal experience. I had put my trust in a regular doctor, which they're great. They're very specific for certain things, and they know their stuff. But to get that answer, you're okay when you don't feel okay. Like your labs are great, but you don't feel okay. Or now you have, a particular thing that's wrong with you, and these are the options. Those are usually not all the options, but unless you're open to seeking other options, it kind of closes your world down a little bit. And I think it's super fascinating for you to be able to sit and say, I did all the right things, right? I made all the baby food. I ate super clean. I was very health conscious. I was non-toxic, but I still had health issues that couldn't be resolved. And why would I get shingles? And so I think you're right. We can on the surface, we can look a certain way, but then underneath there's stuff that's happening internally that we don't see on the outside. And I think for anybody listening, and you can, commentate off this, gut health. I mean, gut health is part of what keeps you healthy and or what drags down your immune system to a certain degree. So when you started learning nutrition, what was it about gut health that kind of stood out to you?
Of course, gut health needs to be working. If our gut is not working, we will not be able to absorb all the nutrients that we need. And my body kept on declining. So I kept on getting sicker and sicker. I was sick more frequent. After I had my second child, my immune system was really, really suppressed again. I was sick for 4 months in a row. I ended up at the hospital, was drinking crazy amount of water, like 9 liters a day. And my whole system was just out of whack. And the only thing they could find was that I was completely low on, there was almost no vitamin D in my body at all. Even though I was living in sunny Texas by this time, I was outdoors. Even if I was feeling very ill, I took my kids out every day to play in the pool, and I would sit on the side in the sun, and I was still almost completely empty on vitamin D, which was very fascinating because by this time I've done enough of studying and I have implemented both probiotics and prebiotics. I'm using probiotic foods in my diet daily. We grew up eating kefir and sour. I don't know if there's a good translation for that in English, but it's like kefir. It's just like a sour milk with lots of good probiotics in it. And my health kept on declining. So even if I was also reading up on everything and knew what to do, my body still didn't respond to it. And I actually became so allergic to grass and pollen that, and I've never had an issue with allergies before, but my second pregnancy triggered it. And it became a cross allergy to all fruits. I could not eat any fruit whatsoever, ever, and half of the veggies. So
it seems like your body, it seems like your body was going into just like a major repel against everything because it was inflamed, it seems like. So I'll be curious if that's kind of one of the things you discovered. But I also find it super fascinating that you grew up in Sweden, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
And then when you came here to America, that is when your stuff started. Mm-hmm. And it's fascinating to me because I have heard when you go to other countries, like European countries, a lot of times if you're quote unquote allergic to something, or if it is a trigger for you, it is not over there. And it just always is so interesting to me because that screams to me our soil, our manufacturing, our FDA, it's a lot of things here that is not
Roundup.
Has not been like ever really sitting well with me. Monsanto, it's like there's a rabbit hole of things. And so I'm so delighted to talk to you, especially coming from somewhere else and being perfectly healthy to coming over here and having such issues. So, what keeps sparking my brain is inflammation, and then toxic stuff because your body wasn't used to that kind of a lifestyle. So What was like a major first discovery for you where you started to see your health turn around? What was like a one piece of like an aha?
Yeah, to be honest, I could not figure it out in the beginning. And I was already eating what I was supposed to do. I was already taking supplementations that was very expensive to promote gut health. And it was not until, because I kept on just living my life, eating the foods that I wanted to eat, fruit and veggies, like to some extent, but I needed 2 to 3 different allergy medications every day. Or I had to just eat a carnivore diet. But I got depressed if I only eat carnivore diet for a long period of time. So I need to implement fruits and veggies. I was just stuck in a circle of ignoring my symptoms and just taking the allergy meds. And eventually, so what happened was that my third child was born over here in the United States. And I was just laying on the couch. And then suddenly I hear a snap sound, cracking sound, and I felt a burning sensation from my head going down my spine. And I felt like I was paralyzed. And even if my phone was just a hand away from my hand, I could not stretch to get to the phone to call for help. So I was just stuck on the couch until my husband got back home from work 3 hours later. And when he got back, I was like, please take the baby. Please come and help me as soon as possible. Go and change your diaper first. And that was the start of 2 years of me trying to figure out, why am I going through this? Because no one could figure me out. I went to doctors both in the United States, both in Norway. They did MRIs. They could not figure out why I was in so much pain. I did go to chronic therapist, acupuncturist, osteopaths, massage therapist, sports massage therapist, like every single person I could think of, I went to them, and then I tried 5 or 10 different kinds of the same treatment to find one person that would maybe be able to ease my pain, because I was in so much pain that I felt like I was paralyzed. So I wasn't able to sleep, because as soon as my body moved, my head would not follow. It would just be excruciating pain that would wake me up, and I had to move my head with my hands. So I was just one of those freak cases that every person I went to, they just said, I've never seen anyone like you. I don't know if you will ever be better. So the breaking point was that eventually I had a friend calling me up regarding, she just knew that I'd been studying nutrition, that I was very interested in everything that had with nutrition to do. And she just said, I found a blood test that can measure how many pro versus anti-inflammatory building blocks that builds up your cells. So then we get into the inflammation part, because I was already eating a low inflammatory diet. I was already doing the best of my knowledge. And suddenly I was able to take a test that showed how many pro versus anti-inflammatory building blocks. And it showed that I had 9 times too much pro versus anti. So I was just struggling with low-grade chronic inflammation throughout my whole body. And when I'm struggling with that throughout my body, I also struggle with it in my gut, because that is also built up with cells. So my whole body was affected by this. So that was the breaking point for me to like truly understand cellular health and the root cause in my case.
That's fascinating. I think what's so fascinating to me is that your friend stumbled upon a blood test that should be more common knowledge to more physicians, in my opinion. When someone can't answer you, if someone can't help you and they say you're just going to have, when somebody gives you an answer of, I'm sorry, we might not be able to help you, you might be like this the rest of your life. I mean, to me, that would have to be so defeating, especially someone like you who's already done the research, done all the stuff, and then not be able to have somebody help you. So thank gosh for your friend, right? I mean, thank gosh that she, found something. And I'm so glad that, I know your experience wasn't probably the most pleasant, but by going through that and then finding something to actually give you an answer gives you the ability to speak to other people who might be in your same position and say, I don't know if this will be your answer, but this was my answer. And what do you have to lose? Because from my knowledge and all I know, chronic inflammation is a killer. It's a killer for your entire body. When you have that low chronic inflammation, again, you could be doing all the right things, or you think you're doing all the right things, according to research and what you know, but yet the blood tells you something different. And so when you finally found out that that was one of the causes, or was the root cause, what were some of the things that you implemented to change your cellular health?
Mm-hmm. So I needed more I needed more anti-inflammatory building blocks into my body. And those are the omega-3s. It's in particular, EPA that we need for our cellular structure. But I was already eating omega-3 and have been preaching about omega-3 the 6 years that have been already passing by. So I was already taking supplementation on a daily basis. By this time, I was back in Norway and I was back to eating at least 5 servings of fish every single week again. And I was still too low on omega-3 levels. So I changed my supplementation, because the more I learned about omega-3 is if an omega-3 product smell fish, taste fish, it makes you burp fish, it's already rancid. And most omega-3 supplementation is they're adding vitamin E as an antioxidant. And when they're adding vitamin E as an antioxidant, it's not going to be bioavailable in your body for more than a few hours. So I changed my omega-3 supplement to be a supplement that actually contains polyphenols, because polyphenols and omega-3, they marry very well together, because that's how it is in the ocean. Omega-3 comes from algae, and in algae, it's the polyphenols that are protecting the omega-3s. But in the process of creating a fish oil, we're cleaning out the omega-3 so much that they're separating it from everything. And then they're adding synthetic vitamin E most of the times, and that is not going to protect omega-3 in our system. So that is why there is countless research papers out there now saying that omega-3 don't work. It doesn't help us. It doesn't benefit us, because we need more fatty fish. We don't need omega-3 oil if we are not able to absorb it.
So okay, a couple of things. So that was a lot and a lot of good stuff. So I just want to break it down for the audience. So not all supplements are created equal, just like not all food is created equal, just like how all, personal care products are not created equal. So that's first and foremost. So if you're someone who's just downing all the supplements, you need to learn what's in your supplements. You need to learn what the extra ingredients are in your supplements. You need to find clean brands, just like clean food brands, just like clean personal care brands. And so what I'm hearing from Michaela, number one, which I did not know this, is that if your fish oil smells or you burp fish oil, then it's rancid. That's pretty disgusting. So I guess
the body tries to get rid of it.
Get rid of it. Yeah. Ooh, right. That's kind of gross. But okay, so we know that's not right. I also understand what you're saying, and this is why I say not all supplements are created the same, is because people add fillers to make things cheap. Just like in food, they do the same thing in supplements. So again, if you supplement, you need to make sure you know your company and what's in it and how the ingredients mesh together. And I think absorption is such a key thing that people miss when they're just piling on the supplements or piling in the food. If your body is not able to absorb it, you're wasting your money. You're not getting the good effects. You think it's not working. Well, it's not, but you think that particular, supplement's not working. It's why your level isn't rising, maybe in your blood test or whatever. So you want to get a fish oil, if I'm correct, you want to get a fish oil that is pure, obviously, and that has polyphenols in it, because that is what helps your body be able to absorb the fish oil. Is that correct?
So it helps the fish oil to stay bioavailable in your body until we absorb it.
Okay, that's interesting.
Because we need to, the body keeps on absorbing and utilizing our EPAs and DHAs throughout the whole, 24/7.
24/7, okay.
Yeah, because we are So this is the thing. We have about 37 trillion of cells in our body. And every second, we are regenerating about 2 million of cells. And EPA plays an important role in every single cell membrane. So when we are creating 2 million of cells every second, we need to make sure that we have enough of EPA levels in our blood so that the body can take those building blocks it needs to create healthier cells.
Okay.
Then the DHA is for brain health and for heart health and for eye health. So it is super important to get enough of that because we need it for our health, for our brain health.
Okay.
So not only is the antioxidant important, but it's also important to look at the supplementation, how much EPA and how much DHA do you get per day as well.
And then the polyphenols. I got to take some notes here because, I'm learning.
Yeah.
So polyphenols
Yes.
help it absorb. Okay. In your experience, what is the recommended dose of all of those parts?
So it depends on your body weight.
Okay.
I have calculated for my body weight, I need about 13 to 1400 milligrams of EPA, about 700 milligrams of DHA. And when I get those levels into my system every day, I am having a good omega ratio in my cell membranes.
So when you discovered that and you went on, obviously you started supplementing with the correct stuff, was that the key factor for you to start transforming your health back?
Yes, it was truly. So my pain started subsiding pretty quickly, and I was banging on the wood every day because I could not believe how my body started changing. I remember so vividly the first night I had been sleeping the whole night without waking up in excruciating pain. And I was just looking at my husband, was like, I slept a whole night.
Right.
And
Like amazing.
that was like so magical to me. I was like, and not something I took for granted. So I kept on just becoming better and better. And for me, it was only 2 months before I was pain-free. With that, though, I was just on the border to be in good level. So when I measured my omega-3 index, I was at 5.6%. You need to be above 8%. Most Americans are down around 2.5%. So I was halfway to my goal. So I think that's why my body responded very quickly, positively, because I was already doing so much that was the right things to do. This was just the last thing it needed to push me over to the good side of my health versus the bad side of my health.
That's so amazing to hear. And it gives me kind of the goosebumps because it's, I don't want anyone to ever think like eating good and moving your body and all the things that come along with wellness are for nothing if you don't feel well, if you're not well, because when our body is given half the chance, it will heal itself when it gets what it needs. And sometimes the biggest challenge is finding out what that is, but it brings the greatest opportunity of learning and digging and providing and then educating others. And so I'm so, thankful that you kind of went that from the animal route to the human route, because had you not, maybe you wouldn't have been, as knowledgeable and as, have that drive to dig and all the things that you really needed in order to get, God is good. He led you in the right directions for you to be able to get where you needed to go. Right. So that's amazing. I think everybody's stories are so fascinating, and chronic pain, I believe, is one of the hardest things to find the root cause of. But from the research that I've done and the studies that I've read and the journals that I read, a lot of chronic pain is related to suppressed things, but also to low-grade chronic inflammation. So,
and to this day, there is no one in the medical field that have been able to explain why I was in so much pain, The only thing they would say is we cannot really find a reason for it. And they would say, we think it might be that you need a psychologist because we think it's up in your head. That's basically what I got from the medical field. My own thoughts are just that I might have a small accident from falling off a horse when I was younger or something. And as soon as I have too much inflammation in my body, it gets very targeted right there, right by my neck. So what's happening is, what I think is that my nerve has so much inflammation around this. As soon as it's not 100% straight, it feels like it's completely broken off and I'm not able to control the pain in the body. But as soon as I'm completely straight, I could move my head and I could move my hands and my legs and everything. But it was just when I was not aligned that I would have this excruciating pain. So,
well, again, chronic pain is a mystery, but there's always an answer. It's not a very clear-cut answer. And so that's where the frustration comes in. So going back to the fish oil, because I think that's super fascinating. Do you have a brand in particular that you like? And again, this is not telling everybody that they need to go and get this particular brand or that this is the best brand. This is just the one that, Michaela might recommend, but you all need to, be on, your own journey, figuring out what works for you, talk with your doctor or your integrative doctor or somebody that's more into the wellness realm before just supplementing yourself with anything. So sorry, that was my...
Yes. And full disclosure, I am an independent distributor of this brand now because I've seen it work so well. Okay. But the one I'm using is a Norwegian company called Zenzino. They are one of the few omega-3 brands I found that is having polyphenols that are helping the omega-3 stay fresh and bioavailable for us.
And is this the brand that you've been using the whole time?
Yes, I've been using them for 4 years now. Okay. And I'm super, super happy with them.
Okay, well, that's good to know. So you guys can research Zenzino, see what you think. If they're not for you, just remember the couple of things that we talked about, which I will drop all of this information in the show notes so that you're not trying to drive and write and walk and write in your notes or whatever. So all of that will be in the notes for you. When it comes to like your top 3 favorite anti-inflammatory foods, what are your top 3? I mean, I have some I like, but what are your top 3?
Yeah. So since I've learned so much about gut health after I've been struggling with it for a long time, the gut really needs vitamin D to be able to be restored and for it to be able to create vitamin D that is actually bioavailable. From an inactive form to an active form, we need magnesium. We also need omega-3 for our gut. So, and then probiotics and prebiotics. So the 3 foods I would eat for my gut health would definitely be fatty fish. It would definitely be some type of like a good Mediterranean salad with olive oil and olives and lots of healthy fats in it. And then I would do something to have probiotics in it. So I would probably have to say I'm really into kimchi right now. So it would probably be those 3 things that I would be, that I like everyone to implement every day.
And those are all good things. And it's so interesting, the supplementation that you talk about, because when my kids were little, we started going to a doctor who was half Eastern, half Western kind of thought philosophy. And he used to always preach, your flu bomb. He used to call it a flu bomb instead of a flu shot. He would say, your flu bomb is vitamin D3 with K2, omega-3, magnesium and elderberry. And then when you can slide it in, make sure they're always eating pre and probiotic foods throughout the winter, starting as the week before school starts all the way until after winter. Like it's so interesting that you say that, because that's something that he used to always say to us when the kids were a little bit little. So I love kimchi also. And also if you are not a kimchi person, 1 spoonful of sauerkraut every day, if you can hack sauerkraut. There's a lot of people, again, something I wanted to put out there is that not everything has to come from supplementation. If you want to get more of something in a supplement form, Google what foods have that in it, because a lot of times you can supplement less and add more, whole foods in, and then you get really a lot more out of it because it's a whole food. It's got other things in it that are good for your body. So when your doctor says you need to up your, D3, or you need to up your whatever, okay, go look for that, but also look at what food you can add in, because I think that's super important, that we have to go back food first, then supplementation, then medicine, then surgery. That's my little tier system. Well, thank you so much for coming on today and sharing. I mean, first of all, your story is enlightening. It's amazing. I'm sorry that you struggled, but I'm so thankful for your journey because it's really helping other people. I'm glad that you got into what you're doing, because I can really see that you're making such a difference in other people's lives. So for my listeners, the last thing that we always talk about is the non-negotiables, because my motto is the 1 shift method equals, non-negotiables for your habits. So what are 1 or 2 little things that you do on a daily basis that keeps you feeling your best?
So first of all, every morning I want to get out into the sun as quickly as possible. So I pretty much wake up before my kids wakes up, and I just go out either for a brisk walk or go and play some pickleball with some friends. But I want to get out in the sun directly in the morning and have some type of exercise. So that is one of my biggest one. And then, of course, implementing. I'm always thinking about food as a way to feed my good gut bacteria. So that is something I'm always thinking about when I'm eating food. So non-negotiables are, I'm always feeding my good gut bacteria every day.
That's awesome. And I love that you play pickleball. I play with a couple of girls, and it's so much fun, and it brings joy, right? I'm always talking to people about movement does not have to be a task. It can be something that's super fun and social. So I love that you play pickleball. And I also love that you go out in the sun in the morning, because as we all know, that's super important to set yourself up for nighttime sleep, get your melatonin and all of that all regulated. So thank you so much again for coming on. I really do appreciate you. And I can't wait to keep following your journey and see where it takes you. And for all of you guys listening, I hope that you have a wonderful day. I hope that you found 1 or 2 things that you can take away from today's episode and put into practice immediately and see how it makes you feel. Until next time, I will see y'all later. Bye. Hey guys, wasn't that just a great episode? And isn't she just the cutest little thing? I really found that to be such a good episode of quality information that we could take away. And so I wanted to talk about what I felt were important takeaways, which number 1, the quality of supplements matter. Not all supplements are created equal. When choosing supplements, particularly fish oil, please pay attention to the quality and the purity of your product. I always talk about ingredients, and this is so important. Look for fish oil that is pure, free from being rancid, and contains polyphenols to help aid in absorption. Remember, vitamin D goes along with that too. Cheap or low quality supplements may not provide the intended health benefits. And I think so many of us get so frustrated because we try to pile on all these supplements, in place of drugs, but if they're cheap or they're not good quality, they don't work. If they're treating something that we don't have, they don't work. So again, it's really doing that deep dive. Number 2, understanding your omega-3 ratios. Omega-3 fatty acids, especially EPA and DHA, play a vital role in cellular health. To improve cellular health and reduce inflammation, it's essential to understand your body's omega-3 needs. The recommended dosage varies by your body weight, so please consult a healthcare professional to determine the right amount of EPA and DHA for your specific needs. Again, don't just jump in and start giving yourself different supplements without consulting with somebody first. And lastly, consider the root causes. When dealing with chronic health issues, don't just treat the symptoms, but strive to identify and address the root causes. Inflammation can have a significant impact on overall health, so consider inflammation as a potential culprit and explore tests and treatments that can help pinpoint and address the underlying issues. There are tests out there that can test to see what your inflammation level markers are, and I highly recommend those if you're suffering from autoimmune diseases or just things that are plaguing you that nobody has an answer to. Again, this is all educational information for you to start to be able to advocate for yourself. So I hope you guys really enjoyed that, and we will talk to y'all soon. Have a great day. Thanks for tuning in today. I loved being here with you. I hope that you got something from today's episode. I'd love to hear what resonated with you. Drop a comment below, and if you feel led to, download the episode and share it with someone you love that needs to hear this message. As we continue to spread the goodness of this podcast, I'd love for you to help us by leaving a review on Apple Podcast or a rate on Spotify. As we increase listeners, we will come up more often when women are searching for podcasts to listen to. To stay connected with me, you can check out my social media pages at Live Life Balanced with Robin. You can check out my website at livelifebalancedwithrobin.com. You can book a discovery call. And if you're looking for a way to get started right now, you can opt in for my new quick guide for the Empty Nester Refresh. You can join my waitlist for my new course, It's Your Time, which is going to be launching soon, which I'm super excited about. And as always, thank you for letting me be part of your day. It truly means a lot that you're allowing me to be on your wellness journey with you. Until next time, find peace, love, and light by breathing, being present, and allowing for all possibilities to happen.